Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another edition to Good Morning Soul. I hope you are all rising and shining to another beautiful day here on our Mother Earth. And today I'm going to be doing another installment in my That Game I Played series. And the game I'm going to be talking about is Star Wars The Clone Wars, which I played on PS2. And this game, you might immediately think Star Wars The Clone Wars. You might think of the TV show that I heard is pretty good, the animated TV show. It has nothing to do with that show. This game came out before that show existed, and before that show like kind of took the Clone Wars name and turned it into this whole other thing. This is based upon the Star Wars Clone Wars movie, and you would think like with such a title that they would do something kind of like I remember episode 3, that video game, like they actually did like some things with it and it was very influenced by the movie. This is very much in the vein of a lot of other Star Wars shooter games. And I don't mean like shooter like first person Battlefront. I mean like this is a like driving, racing, like in a spaceship kind of shooter game. Very much in the vein of like I know there was a bunch on a Nintendo 64. There was some on GameCube. I'm forgetting their names. There's Star Wars pod racing games. There's a bunch of these. They're all kind of just, I don't know. The ones I played on Nintendo 64, you would think like it was a part of my like collection of games that I played constantly. And I remember putting it in multiple times, just trying to like it, even as a kid, as a teenager. Both times, not successful. So you would think I would have like no reason for buying this, for playing this, but you have to understand at that point in time in my life I was a collector. I was trying to give everything a chance, and I'm still that guy. I'm still the type of guy who would throw in random pieces of shit just to see what's going on. I'll put on shitty anime, I'll put on shitty movies. I don't give a fuck. I'm trying to comb through the depths and find the gems out there. And the last game I did this podcast about was Product Number 3, which was a game I could seriously see myself replaying for the sake of making a review, because I just remember that game being interesting. And then there's this game, which is a game that reminds me I don't need to replay these games in order to do a video about them. Like, I don't want to ever play this game ever again. Once I was done, I was like, okay, it's done. I don't have to ever look at this thing again. But then I kept it around all that time thinking, well, if I ever like want to make a video about it, I could keep it around for whatever reason. Which is stupid, because I don't even like driving I like driving in real life if it didn't like, waste gas and car equipment parts and like risk my life. But other than that, I like driving. It's a fun, relaxing thing to do. But driving in games I've never liked. Like even in Grand Theft Auto, where it's like the most fun aspect of that game, don't like it there. Even in like racing games, like, I'll play Mario Kart, but I never got into those games. And games like this, like I never have played full the way through like a full like straight up racing games. I've never completed like a Gran Turismo or a Need for Speed or any of those things. And that's kind of just because, like, one, I'm not interested in cars. Like, it's not like a aspect that I'm like admired by, or that I admire. Like, I'm not into cars. Like, if I was, I'd probably like look into these things that I definitely should know about that are related to cars. And in games, I've never like. There's a couple of exceptions, like in Mass Effect Andromeda, there's a car in that I actually do enjoy, but that's mostly for the sake of exploration. Like, whereas this game really just wanted to be like an action driving game. And, that's not to say that there isn't like a couple of things in this game. Like the majority of this game, you are in a tank or something like that, and you are shooting these like random Star Wars enemies on, a couple notable places. You go through a couple of the places you went through in Clone Wars. You go to the Wookiee homeworld. That was pretty cool, but nothing like about these areas are exciting. You could put a name on it, but that doesn't mean that it's gonna look cool. Like, and I know this game was dated by the time I played it. It was dated as fuck. Like, you might wonder why, as like a guy who like was digging up old games to play them, why I would even like waste my time playing this game. Well, first off, this game was pretty short. That's probably why I don't remember it all that much. But it was like, what, 12 to 16 missions, something like that. And the whole time, you know, it was just, you know, quick and easy, one and done. And back then, I was completing games for the sake of completing games. And, you know, I thought there would be some moments of, like, quality within this game. Because you're not just in a tank the entire game. There's a couple sections where you're on like a motorbike, and there's a couple sections where you're on foot. And you might think, oh, you're actually on foot as like a Jedi. That might be fun. It's not. It's really, it's worse than driving the tank around. It's very stiff, very, ugh. And I know games like Star Wars: The Old Republic and shit like that was coming out around this time, so there's like not that much excuse. And I know episode 3 came out not long after that. I remember that game being not as bad. And then there's like games like Force Awakens, which didn't come out too much longer after this one. I know it came out on like the Wii and fucking shit like that, so for this game to be like as like bland and boring as it is, there's no excuse. This is a very repetitive game where you just do the same shit, the same type of driving, same type of enemies. Everything looks like shit. And I know that there's a co-op. I didn't play the co-op for this game. I looked up a couple videos just now to refresh myself, and like some of the comments were saying, hey, the co-op for this game is actually pretty good. You know, I don't usually talk about the co-op for games because I never get into them. I don't usually have someone to play with. And a lot of these games, the co-op is online. I don't usually play online all that much. Like, even right now, I don't even know if I have online. If I do, it's just going to expire soon. So, it's just not something I'm all that into. But I know I should probably, like, invest in that. But personally, not a big fan of this kind of game. And it's not to say like I didn't try it out. Like I played this game to completion. I gave it a fair chance like I would a bunch of other games, but sure enough, it just proved to be something I didn't like. And I know that they tried to hype it up a little bit. They added a couple cutscenes that were just bleh. Cutscenes for the sake of being cutscenes are never interesting. Same with this game. They're just trying to, you know, add a little bit of like a mission aspect to it when it's really just do this objective. It's a do this objective kind of game. Not interesting, not my kind of game. And really, as time has gone on, like I've had this game around, I was finally able to get rid of it recently. This is one of those things I'm never gonna look into the rear view and be like, no. I was excited to just never talk about this game again. I was excited about it, so I'm gonna give Star Wars: The Clone Wars a 3 out of 10. I know that might be a little bit harsh, but that's only because not my kind of game. But anyway, thank you for watching today's That Game I Played. If you found any interest in this, you know, you are free to check this game out. It is a relic. It is a memory of the past that is possibly worth digging up if you're a big Star Wars fanatic or if you like these kinds of games. But anyway, thank you for watching, guys. Thank you for listening. I'll see you tomorrow with another episode of Good Morning Soul. And until then, with that, I leave you.